Free-to-play games can be amazing, or a complete waste of time. I played 20 of the biggest free Steam games to find out which ones are worth it and which ones will make you regret hitting download. Some are must-plays, some are painful cash grabs, and one is so bad I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. Let's get into it. Starting off our list is War Robots. The concept of piloting massive mechs in intense battles sounds thrilling, but the execution leaves much to be desired. Many players have voiced concerns about its aggressive pay-to-win mechanics, making progression without spending money feel like an uphill battle. While the graphics and robot designs are commendable, the gameplay often feels repetitive, and the matchmaking system can be unbalanced. If you're a fan of mech combat and don't mind the grind, it might be worth a try, but temper your expectations. Next up is Project Playtime, a game that attempts to blend horror elements with cooperative gameplay. While the premise is intriguing, the game struggles with technical issues and a lack of content depth. Players have reported frequent bugs and connectivity problems, which can hinder the overall experience. The potential is there, but as of now, it feels more like a work in progress than a polished game. Marvel Snap brings the beloved Marvel universe into a card game format. Initially, it garnered attention for its innovative mechanics and diverse roster of characters. However, recent reviews suggest a decline in player interest, citing issues like balance problems and a lack of meaningful updates. While it's free to play, some have pointed out that certain powerful cards are locked behind paywalls, affecting the competitive landscape. If you're a die-hard Marvel fan, it might still offer some enjoyment, but be aware of its shortcomings. Delta Force Hawk Ops aims to revive the classic tactical shooter series with modern graphics and mechanics. While it succeeds in delivering large-scale battles and a variety of missions, it doesn't quite capture the magic of its predecessors. Some players feel that the game lacks the depth and strategic elements that made the original title stand out. Additionally, the AI can be inconsistent, leading to frustrating moments. It's a decent shooter, but it might not satisfy longtime fans of the series. If you're looking for a social deduction game similar to Among Us, Goose Duck offers a quirky alternative. Players take on the roles of geese, trying to identify the hidden ducks among them. While the game introduces new roles and mechanics to spice up the gameplay, it hasn't achieved the same level of polish or popularity as its counterparts. Some users have reported issues with the matchmaking system and a smaller player base, which can lead to longer wait times. It's a fun diversion, but it might not hold your attention for long. Your free version of Minecraft. Trove is a voxel-based MMORPG that combines building elements with traditional RPG mechanics. Its colorful world and creative freedom have attracted a dedicated community over the years. However, in 2025, some players feel that the game hasn't evolved significantly and that updates have been sparse. The gameplay loop can become repetitive, and the graphics, while charming, may feel dated to some. If you enjoy sandbox experiences and don't mind the grind, Trove still has something to offer. Unturned is a sandbox survival game that places you in a post-apocalyptic world filled with zombies. Despite its simplistic graphics, it offers deep gameplay mechanics, including crafting, base building, and exploration. The game has a strong modding community, which adds to its replayability. However, its steep learning curve and lack of in-game guidance can be daunting for newcomers. If you're willing to invest the time to learn its systems, Unturned can be a rewarding experience. EVE Online is a massive space-based MMORPG known for its player-driven economy and complex political systems. It's a game where your actions can have significant consequences, and large-scale space battles are a common occurrence. However, its complexity can be intimidating for new players, and the time investment required is substantial. Veterans of the game continue to find it engaging, but if you're new to EVE Online, be prepared for a steep learning curve. Dark and Darker is a dungeon crawler that emphasizes challenging combat and exploration. Its dark atmosphere and intricate level design have been praised by players. However, recent controversies, including issues with bots and mixed reviews, have affected its reputation. The developers have acknowledged these problems and are working on solutions, but it's something to keep in mind if you're considering diving into this game. The Finals is a competitive shooter that has been making waves in the esports scene. Its fast-paced gameplay and emphasis on team coordination have been well received. However, some players have reported balance issues and a lack of content diversity. The developers have been actively addressing these concerns, and the game's potential is promising. If you're into competitive shooters, The Finals is worth keeping an eye on. At its core, The Sims 4 is a fantastic life simulator. The customization options are great, the graphics are clean, and it's genuinely fun to create a sim, build a house, and mess around with their lives. Whether you want to start a chaotic family, build your dream mansion, or just see how long you can keep your sim alive in a pool with no ladder, there's plenty to enjoy. But let's be real, The Sims 4 is a cash grab disguised as a game. The base game feels empty compared to previous entries, and EA has locked so much content behind an absurd number of DLC packs. Want pets? Pay up. Seasons? That'll cost you. Better social interactions? Fork over more money. By the time you buy all the expansion packs, you're spending hundreds of dollars for a game that still has Sims walking into walls and laughing at nothing. If you're willing to pay for the full experience, or wait for a sale, The Sims 4 is still a solid life sim. But if you're expecting a complete game right out of the box, you're better off sticking with The Sims 3 or waiting for The Sims 5. Neverwinter is an MMORPG set in the Dungeons & Dragons universe. It offers a rich storyline, diverse classes, and engaging combat. The game has seen numerous expansions over the years, adding new content and improving the overall experience. However, some players feel that the game has become too focused on microtransactions, which can hinder progression. Despite its microtransaction-heavy approach, Neverwinter still delivers a solid MMORPG experience, especially for fans of Dungeons & Dragons. The combat is fast-paced, the dungeons are well-designed, and the lore is rich with classic fantasy elements. If you're looking for a free-to-play MMORPG with deep character customization and an engaging world, Neverwinter is worth a shot. Just be prepared for some paywalls if you want to progress quickly. Destiny 2 is a game that has gone through a roller coaster of ups and downs, but here in 2025, it's in one of its best states yet. Bungie has refined the story, tightened the gameplay loop, and added some truly memorable endgame content. The gunplay? Still some of the best in any shooter, hands down. However, Destiny 2 has a notorious problem: its content vaulting system. Some expansions and storylines disappear over time, leaving newcomers confused about the lore. Plus, if you want the full experience, you'll have to invest in multiple expansions. But if you can get past that, Destiny 2 is one of the best FPS MMORPG hybrids out there, offering deep character builds, massive raids, and a thriving PvP scene. Warzone has had its fair share of highs and lows, but as of 2025, it's still going strong. The Battle Royale formula remains addictive, with tight gunplay and satisfying movement mechanics. The game continues to receive updates and map rotations, keeping things fresh. That said, Warzone has a couple of major drawbacks. The game is massive in file size, and some players feel that skill-based matchmaking, SBMM, has made casual play less enjoyable. Cheaters are also still an issue, despite Activision's anti-cheat efforts. But if you're looking for a high-octane battle royale with a strong player base, Warzone is still one of the top dogs. Counter-Strike 2 had a rough launch, with many players feeling that it didn't quite live up to the legacy of CS:GO. However, after months of updates and refinements, the game has slowly won back its community. The improved graphics, new smoke mechanics, and updated maps breathe fresh life into the CS experience. That said, some hardcore CS:GO veterans argue that CS2 still lacks some of the precision and fluidity of its predecessor. But if you're looking for a tactical shooter that rewards skill, map knowledge, and teamwork, CS2 remains a top-tier competitive experience. Even years after its release, Apex Legends continues to be one of the best Battle Royale games out there. The movement is fluid, the gunplay is responsive, and the legend-based abilities add an extra layer of strategy that sets it apart from other shooters. However, Apex has had some struggles lately. Player complaints about matchmaking issues and unbalanced weapons have been common. Still, Respawn keeps rolling out new content and seasonal updates, ensuring that Apex remains relevant. If you love fast-paced shooters with a focus on teamwork, this is still one of the best free-to-play games available. If you've played Smite, you already know what to expect from Smite 2, because honestly, it doesn't change much. The game swaps out the old engine for Unreal Engine 5, giving it a fresh coat of paint, but underneath, it's basically Smite 1.5. Combat is still fun. The third-person perspective makes it stand out from other MOBAs, and the god roster is as entertaining as ever. But here's the problem. Smite 2 doesn't feel like a true sequel. It's more of a soft reboot that forces players to start over, wiping years of progress from the first game. And matchmaking? Still a disaster. Balancing? Still questionable. If you love the original, you might enjoy this. But if you're expecting a massive improvement, you're in for disappointment. If there's one thing you can say about Warframe, it's that this game is an absolute beast. It's been running for over a decade, and instead of slowing down, it just keeps growing. At its core, Warframe is one of the most fluid, fast-paced, and content-rich free-to-play experiences out there. You're a space ninja flipping around, slicing through enemies, and pulling off insane parkour moves. It feels incredible when you're in the zone, and the sheer amount of content, open-world areas, spaceship battles, deep customization, is mind-blowing. But here's the catch. Warframe is overwhelming as hell. If you're a new player, you're basically thrown into the deep end with little explanation. The UI looks like an alien control panel, the upgrade systems are ridiculously complex, and the game's free-to-play model practically expects you to grind for weeks or pay up to get certain warframes or weapons. It's one of those games where veterans thrive, but new players can easily burn out before they even understand what's going on. If you're willing to push through that steep learning curve, Warframe is an incredible game. But if you're looking for something easy to pick up and play, you might want to look elsewhere. Path of Exile 2 is Diablo on steroids. If Diablo was designed by mad scientists who thought casual players were a myth, this game does not hold your hand. It throws you into a sea of skills, mechanics, and build options so deep that even veteran players get lost. If you love min-maxing, theory crafting, and experimenting with absurdly powerful builds, PoE 2 is your dream game. But let's be honest, Path of Exile 2 is not for everyone. The complexity can be exhausting, and if you're not ready to dedicate time to understanding its systems, you're going to feel completely lost. The difficulty curve is brutal, and if you make a bad build choice early on, you might have to start over. On top of that, while the game isn't pay to win, the in-game economy and stash management can feel like they're pushing you towards spending money. That said, if you're an ARPG fan who loves deep, rewarding gameplay with endless possibilities, Path of Exile 2 is hands down one of the best free games you'll ever play. Just be prepared to work for your fun. At first glance, the First Descendant looks like the perfect blend of Destiny, Warframe, and Gears of War. The gunplay is tight, the visuals are stunning, and the characters have unique abilities that add depth to combat. It's an adrenaline-pumping third-person looter shooter that feels amazing when everything clicks. But here's the real talk. The First Descendant has problems. It's grindy. Like, really grindy. Early reviews ripped it apart for feeling like a slog, and while updates have improved things, the game still relies heavily on repetitive missions and loot farming. The free-to-play model means that while you don't have to spend money, you might feel tempted to speed up progression with microtransactions. And because it's a live service game, its long-term success depends entirely on how well the developers support it. Right now, though, it's one of the best free-to-play games on Steam in 2025. The shooting mechanics feel great, the abilities are fun, and if you're into looter shooters, there's a lot to love. Just know that if you're not into grinding, the First Descendant might wear you down fast. And that's the list. Some absolute bangers, some major disappointments, and one game that should probably be shut down for being a predatory cash grab. If you're looking for a fun, rewarding free-to-play experience, you really can't go wrong with the First Descendant, Path of Exile 2, or Warframe. Each of them offers hundreds of hours of gameplay without forcing you to spend money. But if you're thinking about jumping into Genshin Impact, just don't. Trust me, I played it for years, and it's nothing but a slow, painful money trap. Let me know in the comments, which free-to-play game do you think deserves the top spot, and which ones have wasted your time the most? If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, subscribe for more brutally honest reviews, and I'll see you in the next one.